in sound and blah blah. So yeah. Oh, let's see what happens. Let's see if we go live and where we're at, and we'll see what's going on. We'll look at the other one. Test the sound out. Oh, we'll test the sound out and see. G'day, James. How are you, James? Obviously, it's working. I've moved, and when I've tried, I've got to test the sound. I still can't hear myself. It says it's working. Can you hear me, James? I'll just log in. Don't allow that. I will log in and, well, oh my God. I just had lunch with my girlfriend and she's been taking photos of herself and posting. It was the first thing that came up even before I posted. Sensible Centre. Okay, we've got 3 people watching. Do we have sound? Okay, we've got 3 people watching. Do we have sound? Okay, we've got 3 people watching. Do we have sound? We do. It's a bit dodgy, the sound though, isn't it? So there's a bit of a hum there. Just sad not inviting chefs. Yes. Well, it's they're not inviting a lot of people actually. They're not inviting IT people and accountants. There's a lot of people who aren't being invited, but there's like I've still got today's the 1st. I didn't check this morning if the data has been released for last month yet or not. But I'll check tomorrow and update the Aussie Visa Mate app to see what the situation is here. I've got the sun setting on me. Hang on. That might help. It's a bit dark, but anyway. Wasted 5 cookies cooking.
Oh my God.
Oh, my girlfriend's gone, oh my God. I think she's won the lotto. I don't know, she's having a good time. Kev's joined. G'day, Kev. Skills in man, 6 months working in my employer, Visa 186 directory. Is it possible? Well, junior sales, if you've got 3 years work experience and you've got a skills assessment, you can make an application for direct entry. That's the criteria. You've got to have, obviously, IELTS 6. But you know, you can do that. I've got a client who was going to do a 186 and he did a 482 because he's on a student visa and blah blah. So he's done a 482 and now he's saying I want to lodge my 186. So people want to do it because they know the processing times are so slow, you know. But it's very expensive. Doesn't matter where the experience is, as long as you've got proof of, you know, you've got like a work reference and the department can call up the employer and contact them, or, you know, you've got, I don't know, whatever country, group certificates, tax returns that show you started on this date, finished on that date, what your job was, etc. 3 years, you'll be good. Kosovo for life. Do you think unemployment will go to 5% by the end of 2026? Look, it's very hard unemployment in Australia because the government keeps employing people in the public service, right? Like public service recruitment is off the charts. It's never been this high. So part of it is very, very hard because it's government funded. They can employ as many people as they want, but productivity doesn't get better for Australians, right? But they can't do it indefinitely because you've got to have some people in private enterprise. Otherwise, all the money that came in would go out to employees of the government. Yes. Working as a painter, what are the chances of 189? Well, I think they're very slim. So, look, if you're working as a painter and you're a salaried employee, get on a 482 visa. No one should have their primary option as being a 189 or a 190 visa, because just on sheer numbers, only 5% of people, 4% of people are going to get through. So if you want a 1 in 20 or a 1 in 25 chance, you're probably better off joining the lotto, right? So my girlfriend's can't watch. She's going out to the garden now. She can't watch TikToks while I'm going live. So look, if you're a painter, you really like. If you're employed by someone, not on an ABN, then you can be sponsored. It's 100%, or you can try and get it 4%. Not real. 104, right? Would you like to be paid $100 an hour or $4 an hour, right? It's pretty straightforward sort of mathematics, right? How Haslett, how good are kids? I'm not quite sure what this means, but anyway, that's all good. Sadia, 491 pathway 1 guaranteed. Don't know what that's about either. Carla, Albo Sleazy, enjoying helping migrants and seeing Aussies in tents. There's certainly a big problem with housing, and it's been probably about 2 months ago. The Minister for Immigration was talking at the press club, and he was basically saying, if they can't build they can't keep bringing more people into the country because there's a housing crisis. Then they got to build more houses. The problem is they're not building more houses, but they're still bringing more and more people in. How can Aussies in tents get work? I don't know. Look, before I came to Thailand, almost 18 months ago now, I was in Melbourne, and I lived in Melbourne the first 25 years of my life, and absolutely shocked. But I had a friend in Poland who just went to San Francisco and for the Microsoft conference, and he said San Francisco, which was a tourist mecca 25, 30 years ago, is now overrun by homeless. You can't go anywhere. People defecating in front of him while he was queuing to get in a Microsoft conference. So it's not quite as bad as the United States, but definitely something needs to be done about housing. I've been saying that for 18 months. We should have far fewer international students, and spend some money on building some houses. I apply my husband's spouse visa, partner visa, in January, but I still don't hear anything. Kay, you're not going to hear anything for a while. The processing time's about 18 months, depending on if it's onshore or offshore. You can find out in Aussie Visa Mate. You can download the app from the App Store, or you can go to the website there and look up the processing times, which I also have to update. I've been busy doing setting up a website, CRM website, and recruitment website for aged carers and early childhood carers. So, Carly, you don't need to hang around. No one's making you. You can disappear. I'll make it easy for you. There you go. You never have to hear from me again. It's all voluntary. No one needs to watch me. So, all good. So you're unless if you lodge a spouse application, then unless you've been together for 3 years, or you've already been together for 3 years, or you have a child together, then you got priority processing things that you need to look into and see if you're eligible for priority processing. But if you just sort of got married recently, or been a de facto couple recently, then you got an 18-month wait. They don't. Unfortunately, the department does not publicly announce what's going on with people's movements. And like if you go to Medicare, you get a number, and then when it's your number, they give you a call, and you can see what number they're up to, and like it'd be pretty easy to do this with immigration. They already give you an application number. They've got an application date. They've got a database. It's all electronic now. Um, it would save migration agents a lot of time because clients just ring up all the time and say, "Have you heard anything yet?" And just drove me insane. Still drives me insane. I've only got like a dozen clients, so it's yeah, really good. I got WA 190 in community worker and applied in May. What's the wait period for the grant? Well, look, it's close to 2 years, Bavin. Check out the department's website, or you go to Aussie Visa, mate, and the information's there. I think last I looked, it was 20 to 22 months. I looked at the 189s the other day, and they still haven't updated. So the people who got an application for a 189 back in August, I would have thought they'd been processed by Christmas. We're into December now, and it still says, I think, 10 to 12 months or 11 to 12 months, which is shocking. Just means they haven't processed anyone from August yet, let alone the ones they've just done for November, which will come through. So, there's priority processing on 189s over a 190. So, yeah, you'll be close to 2 years. Hopefully you're onshore. If you're offshore, you've got a bit of a wait ahead of you. But if you're onshore, obviously you've got the benefits of being in Australia, and hopefully you've got work rights and you've got a job and things like that. We got rid of Carla. Oh, well. Drunk. I got my 189 visa, but my skills assessment was expired. Can I do a new skills assessment and apply in 60 days? I don't know, because I don't know which skills assessing authority you are using. I think you have to have a skills assessment at the time of offer, but I could be wrong. So yeah, you can make an appointment and I can look it all up for you and tell you, but off the top of my head, I do not know. But yeah, there you go. Where's the elephant print shirt? It's a good question. I've just come back from lunch and I was wearing my new green shorts. I am under 80 kilos now, 79.3 this morning. I am running, keeping fit, and we went to lunch, and yeah, wasn't wearing the elephant shirt. And then I was just playing around because my sound wasn't working. Wasn't sure if I was going to be able to go live. And then the sound worked, and so I decided to go live. And so there you go. Yeah, not wearing the elephant shirt. I've moved house and I've lost the Buddha as well. So that's the other thing. David's got a question. Your mic is peeping. I know. I'll have to. Maybe what's it? I think it's basic. Hang on. It's probably on the. I'll just move in here and see if this will fix it. Give me a second. It shouldn't be. I think it's just. I don't know. I don't know why. I do not know why. I'll have to play around with the. I'll have to play around with. I don't know if that'll make a difference or not. Let me see. I don't know if that'll make a difference or not. Let me see. It's definitely got. It's got a hiss, doesn't it? Yeah. I'll have to play around with it. See how it. I'll have to play around with it. So, but thanks for letting me know. I appreciate it. Okay. Drunk at Accessible Centre. Yeah, strange. If you want to book a meeting, just if you go through to, I think the website at the moment is www.dragonrecruitment.com, because we've set up recruiting for aged care truck drivers and ECTs, and at the bottom of that page there's a book a meeting link, and you can go through there, or just drop me a DM and I'll get back to you. Do you think immigration intakes are reducing currently? What's the 2026 outlook on that? Kosovo for life. Look, I don't think they're reducing. I don't see it in any statistics. I think student visas are increasing. Yeah, I don't think they're being reduced. Like they reduced the 189 or the 190 quotas for all the states. But like the 190s, they take their 2-year processing, so it doesn't matter. What they stop now is not. It's all the people in 2 years' time. It doesn't mean anything. And if people are already in the country and they're just getting a 190 visa, well, they're already here, so that's not affecting things either. Student visas is really what we need to change. Like we can't change spouses. People get married, they have kids and things like that. We could get rid of parent visas. I'm all for that, right? But it's only like 8,500 people a year. But we could get rid of all that kind of stuff. We've gone up from about 180,000 work visas to 230,000, and those people are productive people, supposedly like building the houses and things like that. And the government they stopped on the IT, they've stopped on accounting, they've stopped on cooks. Those people need to get jobs. There's no independent for them, and it's more focusing on health for nurses and the health system and for building and construction. So the people that they're bringing in that program is working, but the reality is that if you've got 225,000 people or 230,000 people on 482s, every 2 years, they're going to apply for PR, and that's 115,000 people a year. If you've got 50,000 coming through in the family scheme, and you've got 110 coming through on 186 visas, that's 160, and you want to have 185 or drop it back. I mean, where are your students? And it's not, it's nowhere near reducing. So what's the outlook? If they don't change student visas, it's not going to change, right? There might be people who are coming off like 485s who can't stay and have to leave. So the NOM might change, the net overseas migration might change, but if all those people who are at the end of their graduating life and haven't found a visa or an employer basically, or a lover, then they're going to have to, they're going to leave, but some other student's going to come in. Unless they stop what's coming in and let people leave, it ain't going to change. So after an 820 is granted and the 2 years are up, do they automatically approve? No, they don't automatically approve, Annie. So what you're supposed to do is once you're 2 years since you applied, not since the grant, since you applied for the visa, you're supposed to fill in some more paperwork and some paperwork. I've been in Thailand too long. You're supposed to fill in some paperwork, some stat decks to say that you're still in a relationship and things like that. There's more to do basically. So there's no interviews. It's and the processing time's 9 to 15 months or something. But nothing real major. I heard it was going to increase, but there's backlash. Well, there's enormous backlash. Of course there is. Like, there's not enough houses. Like the housing, the rental crisis has got even worse than it was 12 months ago. Like we're at record high non-vacant. Like I know all the houses are filled. What can I say? So yeah. 494 granted October 22, but 491 granted July 23. So a question of when can I apply 191, same condition. It's not going to change because your 191's based on tax years, right? So October 22, I suppose. July 2023. So you should be from what you've told me, you should be able to apply now because you'll have your 22-23, your 23-24, and your 24-25 tax returns, so you should be good, I'd have thought. Yeah. Annie, thank you for always answering our questions and taking the time. No worries, Annie. I will be, now that I've got some headaches out of the way. I'll be back every weekday at least, unless my girlfriend. Well, she's got the day off today. She normally works. So yes. When does the 189 processing time begin? Is it from the time of lodgement or only after the health check? Well, you're gonna like it. Well, it begins once you get allocated to a case officer. So that's not really answering your question. But obviously they can't grant you a visa until you've done the health check. I don't know internally what the department is waiting for, whether they're waiting for the health check to come through before they allocate it to a case officer or not. But just do your health check as fast as possible. There's no point holding off on your health check, so unless you're pregnant or something. So 186 direct entry nominational approval wait time. Well, they don't advertise unless they've updated it. They don't advertise the nomination approvals, but you're in a queue, right? And the queue is where you spend most of your time. Nominations can be approved in a week. You know, it's not that difficult for the case officer to, you know, check the ABR website and the ASIC website to make sure you've got a legal trading entity with an ABN, to talk to the tax office and make sure you've got your BAS statements and you're up to date and things like that. You know, do you have an employment contract? Blah, 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 blah. Nomination, the processing time is, once you get to a case officer, is minimal. So, you know, if the 186 direct entry is taking 12 months, well, the nomination's probably taking 9 or 10, right? And that's just wait time. RJ, when we've done that, why do people keep asking the same questions? Hi Assad, how are you? James, Australian hates Asian students. Well, I don't. I'm living with a Thai girl, so why Australia's promoting their universities and colleges? Well, because they're good quality. They are they well, sort of, if you go to Melbourne University or Sydney University or UNSW, which is where all the Chinese people are going, that they're excellent universities, giving a good education, and they show up in the rankings. And I suppose if you're in China, well, there's a lot of reasons people want to get out of China, for instance. I'm not just want to pick on China when you say Asian, but you know, 50% of international students are from China. Maybe that's why you're feeling some negative effects, because there are so many people from two countries in particular, rather than having a balanced spread. Before I left, which is like, I don't know, a year and a half, 2 years ago, there was even articles that the Asian students, like predominantly Chinese, were complaining there were too many Chinese in the classes because they couldn't practice their English skills and get them up to date. So yeah, so I don't agree that Australians hate Asian students. Australia is known for being very multicultural, and that's borne out in all of the studies. You can Google racism in Australia, the Racism Index, and find out which countries are not as racist and more racist than Australia. I think Australia's about 8th or 10th or something like that. I think New Zealand's is the top. If you're Asian and Australia's hating on you, New Zealand's the place to go. So, Relax Boo, Subplus 461, how much photo screenshots evidence sufficient to get the visa approved? Well, look, firstly, it's a temporary visa, right? It's not It's not a permanent visa. It's got a 4 at the front, means it's a temporary visa. I know it works like a permanent visa. It's a 5-year renewable visa based on your relationship with a Kiwi. But it's not like applying for a spouse visa. You're not going to be here forever. If you can show that you live together and you got some happy shots, and your Facebook doesn't say it's complicated for your relationship and things like that, you should get it approved pretty straightforward. I've never heard of one being rejected, to be honest. So yeah. Kenyan guy here. Quick question. I applied for 482 in December last year and it's still processing. Jesus. No, it's not. It's not usual, but it's becoming usual because the department's processing times are still. Hang on, I just want to see if they've posted these. They still haven't updated the last round of the 181s and visa processing times. Let's have a look at the 482, see what it says. 482 core skills. Still saying 3 to 6 months, which is not flash. Still not flash. Yes, so your mic is beeping. Thank you very much. We've gone backwards. Kenyan guy, you have to wait. Unfortunately, there's not much you can do. You can get your employer to contact your local member and give him what for, but that's like your local parliamentary member, and take it from there. How fast is waiver for a no further stay granted? Well, if you meet the criteria and you're coming up to the end of your visa, it should be processed pretty quickly, but they really shouldn't take more than a week or two. Yes. Hussein, I was rejected for my 3rd working holiday visa. Is there anything I can do to get a visa? Wow, Miss Cambo, woo! How you going? I'm back live. How did you get rejected? Were you over the age limit? So I don't know. I don't know why you were rejected. I don't know if you're onshore or offshore. So there you go. Miss Cambo sending roses, which thank you very much. Always very generous. ABIC 24, ECT 95 points for New South Wales. Offshore, no work experience in occupation as visa expired. Any chances? Well, I haven't updated the last month's figures, but I will tell you regional early 491. Aussie visa mate says you need 105 points. So yeah, 105 points. I don't like your chances. It says there are 329 people on 100 points and 595 on 95 points, with 233 offers Australia-wide. So in New South Wales, it'll be a lot less. Yeah. So I don't think so. But if you're offshore with no work experience, you need to get work experience. You need 12 months work experience to get a work visa. So get into the field. You can't even register with Dragon Recruitment because we're going to do ECTs because we can't get your work visa. You don't have 12 months work experience. So yeah. How long will take for secondary school teacher skills assessment? Please answer. I don't know, but it should be on their website. They should have processing times on their website. Please answer applied to. I think it'll take more than 2 weeks. I think probably closer to 6 to 8 weeks is what Vetis is doing. I don't know what AITSL's doing. Of course, you need to be registered as well to be a school teacher. So Yeah, Eduardo sent a rose. Thank you very much. Tap and share this live. Simple, do I help find a sponsorship visa? Well, we're doing recruitment, and most people who watch me are migrants. So we're doing it for aged care workers. We're doing it for ECT. We're focused at the moment. We're focused on aged care to get things going. We're also doing truck drivers because I did a thing on truck drivers. Got 1,000 applications, but most of them aren't eligible. But I still had to set up the process to process them and things like that. So. Look, it's free to register, so just register whatever your occupation is. We're doing cooks and chefs as well because some aged care facilities need those skills. If we get enough of them, then we'll branch out into hospitality as well. And while I'm talking about recruiting, I do need an accountant, and it would suit someone who's either on a early 485 or late Masters Professional Accounting. They've got to have tax agent status, and they can work independently. It will start off as, I need someone to do payroll, but it'll start off quite slow, but I'm prepared to sponsor people, and it'll be a full-time job by July. So, Eduardo, waiver of no further stay should take less than 2 weeks. They used to do them in a week, so I'm doubling it because they've been hopeless for the last couple of years. And if your visa's about to expire, then they should process it straight away. The thing is, the person who gets it can't make the decision. They'll have to be taken to their boss to approve it. So, yeah, in website 3 minutes. Sure, it says in website 3 months. Well, that's what it's going to take, 3 months. I got your app, and how do I contact you? You can book an appointment through the app. And if you've got the latest version of the app, then if you go to settings, there's a little mail thing down there, and you click on that, and it'll open your mailer and send. I think it goes to support or bugs. It won't come directly to me, but I'm a one-man band, so it'll eventually get to me. But I'm sending all the support stuff. I'm going to set up an AI agent to answer this because I'm sick of people writing to me going, hello. It's like, or I'm interested. I'm like, in what? I've got like 350, 400 videos out there, and someone comments going, I'm interested. So, yeah, so you can, there's ways to contact me. You can get you're on TikTok right now. You can send me a DM. Midwife, Life with Amy, midwife, 85 points, 491 offshore. Ooh. Look, like 491s, like it's a dead. You've got to get into Australia. If you're a midwife, maybe you can do a degree or a master's or some sort of course that'll get you on a student visa into the country. And if we look at midwives, I really should be doing this on the midwives. We took 40. Is that for 491? We took 40 across the whole country, and you need 105 points. Well, we say the predicted cutoff is 100, right? You're gonna need to be lucky. How many did you say you had? 85. You got no chance at 85 points. Oh, yeah, well, because I'm looking at it. There's only 22 applicants, right? So you might get it. You might get it if you applied in the ACT, New South Wales, Queensland, South Australia, Tasmania, Victoria, Western Australia. As long as you didn't apply in the Northern Territory, they've all accepted at least one midwife. So fingers crossed. But yeah, if you can get into the country and get a job, 482, 100% guaranteed. M, how easy is it to get nominated once you have all the boxes ticked for someone in Queensland as a painter and decorator? So I'm not sure what you mean by to get nominated. Are you looking to be nominated by the Queensland State for a 190, or are you looking to be nominated for a 186 direct entry, or are you looking to be nominated on a 482 work visa, M? I suppose they're all easy if you meet the criteria, right? I haven't looked at Queensland's offer rounds yet for state sponsorship, but look, if you're in the country, work visas. Work visas went up 25% last year, and permanent applications for 1890s, 190s were cut from historically low levels to now even historically lower levels. But work visas increased by 25%. That's what you should think about. Tammy, any vacancies in admin, sound engineers, or even warehouse factory work? Well, I think I need a sound engineer to figure out the hissing in the back of my... I'm going to have to bump up the filler now that everything's moved around and stuff. I don't know. But you won't get one in admin. Sound engineers, I think you'll struggle as well. I don't like your chances, Tammy, in any of those fields. What I would do, if you're going to struggle to get to Australia, but if you can get to Australia on a student visa with some sort of professional course, particularly in the helping, caring sort of fields like aged care or nursing, then yeah, it's expensive, but there's career there that's not going to be removed by AI. Your sound engineer, geez, I feel sorry. I know some sound engineers. I did a master's of film. I've got quite a few sound engineer friends, and they're struggling. Life with Amy, applied for all those, and hopefully, fingers crossed. M the 190. I don't know where that's at. Sorry. Tammy, we're currently doing our cybersecurity course. Will this be beneficial? Tammy, if you can get a job as a cybersecurity person, then you can get a 482 and you'll get permanent residence. If you've got IELTS 6, if your English is good, then yeah, that's the thing. But you're still going to struggle. You're doing the course. You're going to have to get work experience. You need 12 months work experience to get a work visa. So you're still a bit off. If you could do part of that course in Australia, somehow get here and then get on a graduate visa potentially. There's no working holiday visas in Africa, I don't think. So, but if you could get here and get some work experience locally, that is obviously what you should do. I really haven't said this for a while. I just keep telling people to go for a work visa and stuff, but you really need to focus on having a staged approach to migration, right? The system's designed not to just give people citizenship, right? The idea is that you come here, you put your toe in the water and find out what Australia is like. And you might come as a tourist, you might come on a working holiday visa, you might come as a student, but you'll be here for a couple of years. And then you'll go, oh yeah, I do like Melbourne or Sydney or Perth, maybe if you're strange. Just joking. But you try it out and then you think, oh, I might want to stay. And so, you get a job and you get settled and you might meet people and all that kind of stuff. And then, you go for permanent residence and then eventually you get citizenship. And, people are on average, people are getting 5 and 6 visas before they get permanent residence. So people need to, 1, physically get here, then 2, get a temporary visa with work rights so you can work, then get a work visa, then get permanent residence. And look, if you can skip any of those steps along the way, well, that's fantastic. But your plan should be a phased approach where you slowly build up your knowledge of Australia and your contacts in Australia and your ability to remain in Australia in that stage of processing. And you should have like a 5 to 8 year sort of plan for that to occur, because that's basically what the average person is doing. And was accepted, very good, on a 417 for 2 years, wanting to get 190, worried I won't get accepted straight away. Well, you that's your risk, isn't it? But if you're here and you're working, well, apply for a work visa. Get on a work visa. If you're not paid enough, get on a trainee visa. Right? You just need to make an application. The processing time's 11 months. So there's things that you can do. Malik, I lodged my bridge visa B on the 6th of November. I haven't received an update. Yeah. When did you tell them that you were leaving the country? But yeah, you should give them a call, find out what's going on. Yeah, it's painful. I know people want to travel. Miss Cambo agrees with me. Yes, it's definitely people who are overseas. I'm actually surprised. All these truck drivers going, send me a visa and I'll be there. And I was like, God, if it was that simple, like seriously, I was quite surprised at how many truck drivers are in like Arabia and obviously in Africa, because of all the mining that's done in Africa as well. Australia's a great place for them to come. And we're supposed to be 25,000 truck drivers short in Australia. And we're supposed to be 25,000 aged care workers short in Australia as well. There's literally thousands of people overseas, and they can't get here because either they don't have the money, because it's going to cost them about 20 grand, or they can't get a tourist visa to come here and go for a job interview or get their heavy license or whatever it might be. And then some countries, they've got low, I don't know what the education rating thing is for the country rating. So they struggle to even get into enroll in a trade course. So yeah. Are we expecting an update for the CSOL this month? Well, there was actually an update to the CSOL last month. And I was checking out the legislation because I was thinking that exact same thing. There must be about a CSOL update occurring. And then there was 2 weeks ago on the 17th or the 18th, I think it was. And I thought, oh my God. So I downloaded the old one and I downloaded the new one and I pumped them into ChatGPT and I said, tell me what's been removed and tell me what's new. And ChatGPT said, nothing's changed. Nothing's changed, but they made a mistake, and management consultant, the ANSCO code wasn't what they said it was something different. So it's taken them either 12 months to realise or 12 months to fix it. I mean, it's a one-page signature job for the minister, and it's taken them 12 months to fix that. Like, what hope do we have of getting a full list of the CSOL anytime soon? They could bring it out whenever. Skills Australia, have they released? They normally what they do is they release a list of these are what we think should be on the list. Look, it's ridiculous. There's no point having these lists if they're not going to make offers to people. Like the CSOL is pretty broad because it's for work visas and stuff like that. But they're still using these like lists from the short-term list and the medium-term list from like pre-COVID. Surely they need to be updated. Like they've got accountants and IT professionals, and they're not giving them offers. Like if they're not going to give them an offer, take them off the list so they're not spending their money doing professional years and useless skills assessments which they don't need for work visas. I mean, it's just crazy. Anyway, that's my rant on that. I can't tell you timings, but as soon as it comes out, I'll let you know. But one did come out. The thing was, I was like, even though I haven't been like online, I've been like still on TikTok and sort of responding to people and things like that, unless they go, I'm interested or hello. And I thought, surely I would have seen a TikTok if the sea salt had changed. How could I have missed that? And well, because it didn't really change. But if you're a management consultant, you're all good now. So there you go. Lee, got a technical interview for skilled visa soon. Do you know what to expect? No, I don't. I assume that's through the trade assessment authority. So I don't know. It'll be technical about whatever your occupation is. So they're not, if you're a carpenter, they're going to say, I don't know, they'll ask you what an angle is or something like that. It's going to be technical. It's going to be a question about what the job entails. They're going to test your knowledge of the industry that you allege to work in, right? There's lots of misinformation. There is, Miss Cambo. There is. How are we going? Has anyone got any other questions for me? I will be back. Over the last, I don't know, over the last 2 months, Malik, you had travel plans on the 24th of November and had booked my ticket. Well, you should have done something about the 24th. I assume that you could get a refund, or you could transfer that fee. But give them a what for. Get onto them. Everyone wants to travel at the moment. So, Duk Nguyen, g'day mate. How are you? And I've since cancelled in my ongoing process. Oh God, it's tough, Malik. I know. It's like it's the immigration department. They've only got to do one thing. They got, process visas, and they can't even do that. I mean, it's crazy. They can't staff the department with enough people, and the public service is at record levels of staffing, which is crazy, absolutely crazy. Yes. But anyway, Suman's joined. I was just going to figure out how many people are watching because. Any chance I can get a 190 from Tasmania in September? I'm starting role as an undergraduate accountant in Burnie and already two years experience. You got 190 from Tasmania in September 26. I don't know you, Barrage. But I'm looking for an accountant. If you want a part-time gig with potentials for sponsorship, I've got a recruitment business that's about to go, and I need someone to do payroll for me. So it won't take up much of your time initially, but it could blow into something bigger. Drop me a DM. You need to be a tax agent. If you've got 2 years experience, you might already be a tax agent, but you might already need to have an undergraduate degree. I don't know what the requirements are. I wouldn't be targeting a 190, put it that way. I'd be going for a 482. And A's right, it's a sad reality. I've got no idea why they're taking so much time. I mean, it's crazy. They just cannot have okay. So firstly, they've got a record number of people on bridging visas, which means they might have only needed 5 people to process all the bridging visa Bs 2 years ago when they only had 5,000 people on bridging visa A. Now we've got, I don't know, 50,000 people, maybe 100,000 people on bridging visa A. And surprise, it's Christmas. They all want to travel overseas, go and see their families. So they probably need a crap load of people to process it. They don't want to put on permanent people because as soon as the Christmas period is over, all those people aren't going to have jobs, are they? I mean, They should just process the bloody visa on time. I mean, it's just absolutely crazy. All the spouse applications, just do away with stage one, grant people a visa to come to Australia and then check them in 2 years' time. I mean, it's almost taking 2 years to process a visa that lasts for 2 years. It's ridiculous, right? So, your truck driver visa caught my eye. I'll message you, see where you can help me. Van life with Smythe. Okay, well, just go to www.dragonrecruitment.com, but if you message me, I'll give you that link. And then you can register there and it tells you whether you're eligible or not, what the steps are, and all that. Aries, employment contract for 186 nomination. Should my company reflect the salaried offer? Yes, of course. The employment contract doesn't need to be what, if you're currently, look, it's a bit tricky, right? If you're currently working there, you don't need to be paid what they're going to offer you. But like if they're currently paying you 60,000 and then they're going to pay you 80,000 when your visa's granted, well, why aren't they paying you 80,000 now? What magical thing is going to occur once your visa's granted? Now, if you're on a traineeship, maybe your traineeship's going to end in 6 months, and then you might get a pay increase or something like that. But it's not good form. It doesn't make it look like a genuine position if you're currently getting paid a third less than what they say they're going to pay you when you get a 186 nomination, right? Because they might say, well, if you can afford to pay it, if you can't afford to pay it now, you can't afford to pay it when the visa's granted. It's not a genuine position. They can't show that the job will exist in 2 years because the business can't afford to pay it, right? So you should be currently, if you're working for the company currently, unless there's a reason not to, like you're a trainee or you're on a training program or something like that, you should be paid what they're going to pay you on the 189. And if they've still got to meet the Australian worker test. So if the Australian worker, the equivalent worker, is paid, say, 80,000 and you're on 60, well, they're not meeting the immigration requirement to pay you an Australian equivalent salary. Either you're doing a lesser job and you're not eligible for the 186, or they're underpaying you, in which case they're not eligible to nominate you. They're a bad employer that we don't want as part of the migration system. So hope that helps. BT Education Services, Senator Hartney, thank you very much. BT Fizbo 55, send me 19 hearts, or not hearts, roses. My God, my memory's going. Ooh, God. Which state is good for trade courses like floor and tiling? I don't know. The state of, I always say the state of employment. If you get a job in those fields, then you get guaranteed a visa. You've really got to remove yourself from this. I've got to be nominated by the state, or that's the easy pathway. The easiest pathway is to get work in your field and work in that field. That's what the government's saying. We've got a Labor government that's all about unionists and workers and employment, right? So you need employment. There's no free rides. Sorry, what was the website again? So it's dragonrecruitment.com. Dragonrecruitment.com. And if you're a truck driver, an aged care worker, a cook or a chef even, or a early childcare worker / teacher, then you can register and we'll put you on our books and we'll go from there. So unless you're onshore, you're not going to get, no one's going to sponsor anyone who isn't onshore, right? We got 1.3 million migrants in Australia who are students, student graduates, working holiday visa people, and existing 482 people who are applying for work and can front up at an interview and go, this is what I can do. No one's going to take a risk on someone who's overseas who might not come here, could be interviewing for everything else, might be just trying their luck, etc. No one, right? So, like I said, staged opportunity. If you're in the country, then yeah. If you're not in the country, you can still register, and we'll tell you what you need so that you can get here, so you can get qualified. We can put you onto education people, because I don't do education. We can help you with the skills assessment if you need a skills assessment because you've got work experience or overseas quals. But at the end of the day, to get a sponsor for you, you need to be able to physically get into the country as a tourist or a student so that you can front up to a job interview. So, yeah. 186 processing time in Perth. I don't know. Do they even process them in Perth? The processing time is 12 to 14 months. Let's see if it's changed. 186. I've got to update this today. I looked last week and it didn't look like they had changed, not the agreement pathway. Direct entry is taking 13 to 18 months. Transition is taking 14 to 19 months. So direct entry is taking a month longer. Nothing exciting going on there. It's hard to get a job. Yep, it is. It is. What's his name? Gary V, who I didn't know, but he's all over TikTok and he was all over Instagram. Apparently, it's been a thing for 25 years. He basically says if you're not applying for 30 jobs a day and you're unemployed, you're going to continue to be unemployed. And if you can do 30, do 50. Because he said, look, if people aren't going to get back to you and all that kind of stuff, and people get dejected, everything. But for every person who is doing 30, there's someone else doing 35 or 40. And they're the ones who are going to get to the employer first. The people who do more get there first. So, yeah, it's tough. Either work for yourself and make the opportunity yourself. Knock on doors, tell people you work for free for a couple of days and show them what you can do, show them you're a nice guy, get them to like you, and get them to make you a job offer. So I'm not about people working for free. I don't believe in that. But you know, if it's in your interest to, I don't know, help someone out, then you should do it. How about a 403? Oh God, 403. Well, you could be on the Palm, or you could be a mate, I suppose. The international relations visa. I think the Palm visa. The Palm visa is really. The farmers complained that the Irish were always too drunk, and the Europeans couldn't cope with the heat. So they wanted to get people like from the Philippines or Indonesia in, because they're used to working in 45 degrees in rice fields, right? And they can handle the dry temperatures in the regional areas. So it's sort of a visa that allows people to come here for 6 months, earn good money because they're getting paid 20 times what they get paid back in the Philippines or Indonesia, or, you know, I don't think the Philippines can actually apply for that visa. Maybe Indonesia can't either, but, you know, Fiji, Samoa, blah, blah, blah. You know, and then the mate's visa is like 3,000 or 5,000 Indians can come here and get work experience or an extension, or I'm not exactly sure how it works, because, you know, they do it from India, so I never process one. So yeah, these are fringe visas, which are designed for political reasons, right? You know, Australia wants to be happy with whoever the guy is over in India. They want to be happy at the Pacific forums to say, look, you know, we're helping out the economy in Fiji by bringing 500 Fijians over here, work on farms and help their families out, etc., right? So, you know, they're not mainstream visas. They're very small numbers. If you can apply, if it's the only way you can get here, make an application, because if you're in one of those poorer countries, they're life-changing visas if you can get one. You know, yeah. Onshore, in the process of getting placement, still looking though. Okay. Well, if you can get a placement, you can't make a work visa application until you've got a sponsor. So get placed. Do anything you can. Morad Disek is a carpenter from Germany. You'll be able to get a. You'll be able to if you're German, or European, you'll probably be able to get a tourist visa with your eyes closed. You can get out here. You walk into a pub, talk to some builders, and you'll get a job like that. I'd have thought. And if not, you'll have a good holiday drinking beer in Australia. The Oktoberfest is over. You might as well get out to Australia for the summer and drink more beer here. Any change for FIFO jobs? I don't know what you mean by any change for FIFO jobs. Your email, please. I'll send my resume. I don't do resumes. You need to register on www.dragonrecruitment.com. If you are assessed as being useful, i.e. we can place you, then we'll request your resume and then we'll store it. But otherwise, I've already got a SAN for when I make films, but it's got like 135 gigabytes or terabytes or something, some massive thing, and it'd be full of resumes that I can't use. Sunil, processing time for the 482 core skills 3 to 6 months currently, still taking forever. Not about to change. And of course, like the department will be asleep in January, so if it's not processed in Christmas, you got no chance of getting anything processed in January, unless it's super urgent. So it's been 12 days. Oh, how long is it going to take? I've got no idea for bridging visas, but I can imagine the dilemma, right? So yes, subclass 482 visa offshore processing time. It's 3 to 6 months. It's an electronic visa. It gets put in a queue, and they don't go you're onshore or you're offshore. They just put it in a queue, and eventually it gets to the front of that queue. I think they probably do a prior scan, but I don't think they go offshore, onshore. So, because I think there are some occupations, like if you're a doctor, for instance, they don't want to hold you up for 6 months. They want to get doctors into the country. Although I did have a doctor who was held up for 4 or 5 months. So, Rambine, sir, I'm travelling to Nepal on December 9. I've applied for bridging visa B today. Well, you're leaving a bit late, aren't you? Rabine, look, seriously, right? This used to be what would happen. People would go to the airport, go to Sydney Airport, and they'd be about to leave, like the 2 hours before, and they get to immigration. Immigration say, "You don't have bridging visa B. Are you coming back into the country?" And they go, "Yeah, what's bridging visa B?" He goes, "Oh, mate, if you don't get a bridging visa B, you can't get back in." And they go, "What can you do? You got to go to immigration." So they jump in like an Uber or a cab, and they pay the $70, and they get to immigration. They go to the desk and go, "I need bridging visa B. My flight is in 90 minutes." And they go, "Boom, boom." And they'd stamp it, and then you jump in another taxi, you get back, and then you go through immigration, and you'd be set. So they literally take less than 5 minutes, certainly less than 10 minutes to get granted. So I don't know, go and bang the door at Parramatta or Sydney. I don't know where the offices are anymore because I haven't lived in those places since 2015. So 12 years ago. But Johansson, how are you going, mate? Send me a heart. Thank you very much. So literally, the people would tell you at immigration that you're going to be screwed if you don't go back and get one. And then they rush it through and they do it. And they take the $140 for 5 minutes work. So yeah, that's what you need to do. 190 491 482. What's best? Well, there's no best visa, but there's a best plan. The best plan is to get a 482 if you're certainly if you're onshore. I don't think you live in unless they've headhunted you. I think you're wasting your time trying to get a 482 from offshore. But 482 is what you want to go for, because that gives you a direct pathway to 186 and permanent residence. Now, if along the way you're eligible for a 190, we'll make an application. But the thing is, you're going to pay for a skills assessment. The processing time is 2 years. And a 491, well, it's only another temporary visa. It's a waste of time. It's really only good if you can't get work on a 482 to extend your stay if you need to, right? And most states with a 491 now, you've got to have a job in order to get one, right? So have a plan. Plan is to get work. Gives you a direct PR citizenship pathway. And then there's a way to speed it up, like a 189, then, or a spouse application, if you get here and you fall in love with, your boss's daughter, right? Away you go, right? Your job's secure, or maybe it's not. and you've got a PR application up your sleeve, right? So, yes. Look, 482 is by far the best way to go, right? I'm not going to say who it was, but there was someone, an agent, a well-known agent on TikTok, was spruiking the dependent age parent visa or something like that. I couldn't think of a worse visa to put someone on, because despite the fact that it's got some good things, I mean, what they didn't say was the processing time's like 20 years, right? It's like you're going to be on a bridging visa for 20 years. That's no good. It's no good to anyone, right? So, just get on a work visa. Get here while you're young, or get to Australia while you're young. I'm out of the country. Get to Australia while you're young, and get processed. So yes. So Neil, Jazz. How long 189 take to grant for register and apply in August? Jazz, I reckon you got to be close, right? They haven't updated the 189 processing time. It still says 11 to 12 months. And I'll just check and see they haven't updated it. It says 9 to 10 months, right? 9 to 10 months. So that basically means that they haven't processed very many since August, because there was about 500 left last I looked, which is a month and a half ago. And if the time for 50% hasn't changed, it means they can't have processed 300 of the ones in August. So they haven't really got very far. But if you applied in August 22 was the offer round, you'd be one of the first. So, and you're a registered nurse. So I assume that you've got, your registration, and you've got your degree, and you've got your IELTS test and all that kind of stuff. Hopefully be granted this month, right? They were processing them like November till May. That was 6 months. And they were all processed by the end of May, November last year to May this year. They were all except for about 600, which were held up. So, August was 6 months, August, September, October, November, December, it's January, right? So December, January, to be fair, you'll be in Nigeria in January. Well, be safe. Be safe. I'm doing well. I've moved in with my girlfriend, and later next year, she's not here. Yeah, later next year we're going to get married for sure. So, yeah, she's and I am. I'm under 80 kilos. I haven't been under 80 kilos for 30 years, and I'm running. I'm either going to do the 10K, the Hua Hin 10K next May, or I'm going to do the Hua Hin half marathon. I ran almost 3Ks this morning. It was only my second run out, and I'm getting fit as a fiddle. I used to be a really good runner, but and then more recently I used to be overweight. But now, mate, I make Schwarzenegger look timid. I'm killing it. I'm killing it. Chances of a community worker in Adelaide. I think community workers need jobs. My advice is the same to pretty much everyone. Liam, oops, hang on. The mighty Cyrus. His IMI is getting more backlog. 18 months for waiting for an 820. there's definitely they don't have they just don't have enough staff. I can't imagine that. Well, it would be career suicide for the minister to say go slow, right? They just do not have enough staff to process things. You would assume I would assume as a political commentator that Tony Burke is probably certainly one of the next in line. He's the top 3 or 4 in the Labor Party. Could well be the next in line to be the leader of the party. He's not going to want to be employing one of the largest, if not the largest, department and telling people not to work while they're getting paid, right? That would be career suicide for him. So I assume they just don't have enough staff. So, but the thing is, they've also got some useless staff because some of the staff are making projections of how many people they need to process all these applications, and they're projecting that we only need enough staff for 40,000 spouse applications, despite the fact we've got a backlog of 95,000, and last year we had 55,000 people apply for spouse visas. Like, who in their right mind says, last year we had 55, this year we're only going to have 40? Like, what is the rationale for that? For a spouse visa, is there a reason why there's a 30% drop in the number of people getting married in Australia? I mean, it's just fucking stupidity, isn't it? Right? So we could do with getting rid of some of those people and having some real numbers and then some real staffing figures so we could actually process the real number of applicants that are coming through. Or we should do what I suggest, we just get rid of stage 1 partner processing altogether and grant people, tourist visas, or just grant the 820 and the 309, get people into the country and follow them up in 2 years and see if they're in relationships. And if they're not, well, bounce them. Anyway, I'd change it a lot. I'd really change it. And what I'm saying, that's what they do in New Zealand. If you turn up in New Zealand and go, this is my spouse, they go clink, clink, go work, go do whatever, raise some kids. Yeah, you'll be right, mate. Yeah. See you in 2 years. It's not like I'm just talking out of my arse or anything, or it's a thought bubble. It's like, it's what they do in New Zealand, or at least it was what they did in New Zealand. I don't know if it still is, but it was, God. Is a bridging visa application rejection detrimental to the substantive visa? No. I don't know why. What did you apply for a protracted period of time? I don't know why. I've never heard of one getting rejected. But if they've rejected you, then I don't know. You can lodge another one. You can lodge another one the next day if you want to. Fix whatever reason they rejected you for. Lodge another one. It's only $140. You're not going to appeal it, $3,400 or whatever. What's the best option for a marketing specialist? Obviously, to get employment. You don't have an occupation in teaching, nursing, or teaching, health, engineering, IT, or building. So you're not on a priority list. So marketing specialists need jobs. 186 processing time, just had a look, 13 or 14 months for direct entry and or transition. Transition still taking longer. Yeah, Anson, if you don't get married before me, that's going to be very bad for you, I think. So, because you were already in a relationship and I started mine from scratch. So I think you should definitely be married before I am. So Fact on Facts sent a cue ball and a finger heart, I think it is. AT, are they going to reduce the waiting time of sponsor visa applications? I can't think of a single visa that I wouldn't want to reduce the waiting time of, apart from the ones I'd want to get rid of, which would be like the aged care ones. Not the aged care ones, the age parent visa, the parent visa, basically. The other family visas for people over 55 who are just super wealthy but still take up spaces in hospitals and aged care facilities. But not like, oh God, like you can sit here all day and you just listen to complaints from people about why it's taking so long. I mean, and the question is, why is it taking? Part of it is the complexity. Part of it is they go, oh, we've got to move these people out of this department so that we can priority process some other people. It's like, no, just process them as they come through, and instead of having 8 people processing and 2 people deciding who to process, have 10 people processing, right? I mean, there's a whole department for priority processing of spouse applications. Just process them in the order you get them. You don't need another department. I mean, it's just fucking lunacy, you know? God. Oh, absolutely crazy stuff. Lodge the 491 KSB, lodge the 491 BT, employer from JRP, not paid tax and super, and got an invitation, different employer. What chance? I do not know, but employer from not paid tax and super and got invitation, different employer. What chance? I don't know. I don't know. I don't process 491. So if you booked an appointment, I'd look it up and I'd tell you exactly. I'd go through the legislation. I'd tell you exactly what the situation is. Yeah, on those facts, I don't know. So. Is there any state I can target, or is sponsorship my only route for marketing? Sponsorship is your only route. I don't think marketing specialist, maybe it's in Sydney. Hang on, I'll have a quick look. Marketing specialist is on the list. New South Wales took 100 for the 491 visa and they took 39. There's 1,800 applicants and you would need 100 points is what we predict. So New South Wales is your best state, but you've only got just over a 5% chance and you need 100 points. That is, you need 100 points, not 100 points. You've got 85 and they're giving you 15 for state sponsorship. You need 100 points. So you'd need to have, 3 to 5 years work experience in Australia. Superior, is that the top one? Proficient superior English, blah, 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 degree, blah, 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 blah. So probably need spouse points and you probably need a foreign language as well. So, I mean, getting a job has got to be a lot easier as a marketing specialist. So is a 482 hard to get, and is there a number of year given to people? So it's a demand-driven visa class, which means there's no cap, right? But there is what's called a soft cap, which is when we only expect to receive 30,000 work visas, we only employ enough people to process 30,000 work visas. And when we get 60,000, well, the processing times get longer. And that's what we've seen, right? Because the moron or morons who are projecting numbers are giving the minister what he wants to see rather than what actually is occurring at the coalface, right? So there's no restriction. If you were, say, applying for a 189, right? Like a 189 is a capped visa, and we do an offer round, and then we only offer as many as we got capped places for, except for last year where they got it wrong, right? But we just process the ones, and then that's it. There's no more. You can't lodge another one, right? So if there's a capping in place, then they'll process up to the cap, and then they'll stop, right? And they might still accept applications, but they won't actually process them until the 1st of July, because in Australia, we work on the financial year from July 1st until June 30, right? So you can apply for your 482. If you're onshore, you'll get a bridging visa, you can stay. Even if you don't have work rights because you're on a tourist visa, you can apply for work rights unless you've got squeens of dollars in the bank and blah, 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 blah. But if you've made an application for a work visa, then generally speaking, unless you're super wealthy and you don't need to work, you can show that you've got a compelling need to work, which is what the test is to get work rights on a bridging visa. So, yeah. In short, there's no hard cap, but there's a soft cap based on how many people they can process. Adley Zazal. My girlfriend's bought some fruit by the looks of it. Ooh. I'm in Sydney at the moment with an employer willing to sponsor you. Take it. Take it. My God. Partner visa processing time, Australia, 491. It's the same. Partner, you're in the queue. You're in the queue. It'll be the same as what the visa processing time is for 491. Yeah. How about 820, 801? So the 820 is taking, let's have a look. Oh, what did I do there? Oh, that's funny. The 820, 16 to 24 months, only 90% of cases are actually assessed within the 2 years that the visa is eligible for. How terrible is that? Only 50% are processed in 16 months. And I can tell you, the ones that are processed, people in long-term relationships, people with kids, all the rest of them go to the end. And it's taking forever. The 801, which is the second stage, 50% are processed in 8 months. 90% are processed within 26 months. So can you imagine you've spent over 20, you're in the last final 10%, you've spent 10% of your time, 10% of people are taking more than 24 months to get the first one, then 10% are taking 26 months, that's 50 months, it's over 4 years. Most people are getting divorced after 4 years. Can you imagine all the stress that your relationship's on when you're like, oh God, it's absolutely terrible. GG there, I just said. So the 801 is taking 8 to 26 months. So hopefully 8 months for you. So if you've had a kid, let them know that. Second stage, you can apply for priority processing. If you go to Aussie Visa Mate, the website, which the link was, there it is, AussieVisaMate.app. There's some free videos that you can watch there. One of them's on partner visa processing. You can watch that and you can see if you qualify. And you can apply for priority processing for a second stage visa if you meet all those requirements. So Aaron, how do you apply for work rights while on a bridging visa? You need to make another work rights application and show that you've got a compelling need to work. Yeah, if you need a hand, I charge $500 for it. Happy to help you out. Drop me a DM. I'm in the UK and as a technician and have been given a 482 for Newstead, Brisbane. What should I look out for? I don't know. Just get out here. Watch out for taipans, boxing kangaroos. I don't know. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. Watch out for the blistering sun. It'll be hot. Like if you're coming out now, wow. James, what is the refusal rate for 482? Does being British lower it? I don't actually know what the off the top of my head, I don't know what the refusal rate for 482 is. Look, it's a technical visa, right? What I can say is this: if you use an agent, the agent shouldn't get it wrong. I'm thinking back. I've never got one wrong. Okay, I've never had one refused. I'm just thinking about that. Yeah, I don't think I've ever had a 482 or 457 back in the day refused. But they're a very technical visa, and people do get them rejected because they haven't got the market salary thing right. They've advertised but it doesn't have the salary in it, or they've got some technical thing wrong that they didn't know or understand, and they've screwed up, right? Does being British lower it? Well, if you're British, you don't need to do an English test because you've got a British passport and you're exempt from the English requirement. So just on that basis alone, there's one less thing that you could get wrong. You can't have an expired test. You can't have done it after you've lodged the application, etc., etc., etc. So being British should, on that reasoning, lead to a lesser refusal rate. But if you really want to, if you like, in all seriousness, if you really want to guarantee you're not allowed to guarantee, migration agents allowed to guarantee the visa outcome, but if you really want to ensure that you've got the best chance of getting your 482 visa, you should be using an agent or a lawyer, and preferably one who specialises in that field. But new agents get drilled on all this stuff, so they'll be capable. 482 is like a bread and butter sort of, very technical, but it's a bread and butter visa for new agents to do. So yeah. Lugly Bucks, yes, I have kids. Well, if you've got kids, if you got kids, then I don't know why you didn't get. You've obviously done this yourself. If you got a child who's fathered or mothered by the Australian citizen, then you should have got your 801 at the same time you got your 820, unless it's happened post that event. But in any event, if you've got a child, you're eligible for. Well, that gives you a compassionate reason. You'll still need a compelling reason why it should be granted. But go and check out. Go to AussieVisaMate.app, and yeah, check out the video on priority processing. It'll tell you what you need. But you can make the application. It's free to make it. That video goes for about 5 or 6 minutes. Tells you what you need. You've got to have all your documents in order and all that kind of stuff. Gives you the website you should go to fill in the form. If you've still got problems, I'll do it for you, but I'll charge you $500, right? So up to you. What is the processing time? It's for my partner while we wait for my four. So they'll issue or grant a bridging visa probably within 2 weeks, right? You'll need, if you're going to, you should probably get an agent to do it, but obviously you need a letter from the employer saying that you've lodged a 482, you need to know what your 482 TRN number is, blah, 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 blah. And the employer needs to say, look, X has left and I need this job. I've sponsored this guy. I'm told the wait time is 6 months. He needs work rights. He's got to start work. That's what basically you need to say. And then CC your local member of the minister and stick it in front of a case officer, right? James, yes, you're correct. Being British means that there's no market salary testing that needs to be done because you're exempt. It's a lot easier for Brits to get 482s, but you still need a sponsor and you still need to have the technical skills to do the job. Yes. So there you go. If you've got an agent, good. You've done the right thing. You'll be fine. What about 491 for Chefs WA? Look, I think last I looked, there was like 5,000. Every chef in the country has moved to Western Australia to apply in Western Australia. There was like 5,000 out of 16,000 applicants in WA. Focus on getting a work. Look, once you've lodged at 491, right, there's nothing you do, right? So go off and look for work and go to every restaurant that you can that you get to and go, I need a job, blah, 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 right? And get work. So, Aaron, we're on a bridging visa, but my partner has no work rights while we wait. Yes. So, as I said, it's 2 weeks, but obviously it'll become 4 weeks pretty soon because because there'll be no one left in the department because of Christmas and Christmas holidays. So you should make the application as soon as possible. Hi, I'm doing a diploma of community services, Aqua approved college. Can I get PR in New South Wales? Well, look, I say this all the time, but doing a course doesn't get you permanent residence. Having an occupation is what gives you an opportunity for permanent residence. And what you should be doing, Amy, is trying to find work as some sort of community services worker where you can get sponsored, and then look at options for PR under the state plan or whatever. But it's not a good visa because the processing time is very slow and the outcome is uncertain. So if you've got an occupation, you've got an employer, so you've got a job, you've got an income, you've got a pathway to PR that's effectively guaranteed, right? If you're an international student now, you need to have IELTS 6, so you already meet the requirements for English, and you just need to have 1 year's work experience. In some cases, like aged care workers, you don't need any experience. You just need the course. And if you've got an employer, 2 years later, you've got permanent residence. So you can remove all of the uncertainty, all of the stress, all of the not knowing, just by getting work in your field. So that's what you should do. Get work in your field. That's where you should focus all your energy. 491s and 190s, they're just, little side products for people who've got too much time on their hands and too much money. They want to spend money on useless skills assessments. So, Mohammed Samir Rose, thank you very much. Shubham, can I apply my work rights while waiting for 309 outcome? You're on bridging visa B RN. No. Look, work. As far as I don't know what bridging visa you're on, but like if you're in Australia and you've got a bridging visa, and you've got a compelling need to work, that's the test. Then you can make another bridging visa application, and they can take the work restriction off the one you've got, so you don't have a restriction, right? Okay, thank you. You've got a bridging visa B linked to your 309. Okay, so as I said, but the thing is, if you're in Australia and you're on a 309, presumably you're living with your spouse, and then you'll have to explain, why your spouse can't support you. Now, it's not a requirement for a spouse visa that they've got a crap load of money or anything like that. But if your partner's earning $150,000 and you live in Rose Bay, Sydney, you're going to have to explain why you've got a compelling need to work, rather than why can't you wait, basically. So, yeah. But look, I'm happy to do one for you. But I don't want to waste your time and your money, right? If your spouse has just lost their job, right, and you have no income and you don't have $1 million in the bank, you can say, well, I've got a compelling need to work, right? Because they've lost their job and we've got no income, and our rent and our food and our clothing, which are the three things they ask for, are higher than our income, which is zero, and we just spent $10,000 on a spouse application and we got no money saved, right? If you've got 20 grand or 50 grand, they'll say, we'll live off your savings, right? But, you can go through savings pretty quickly if you live in Sydney or Melbourne. Jazz, I got my 190 invitation from Tasmania. When will I get my nomination as motor mechanic? Well, if you got the invitation, then make the application. I thought you won't get the visa for 2 years, but another bridging visa application would be bridging visa C, or can be same. No, you're just making, it'll be another bridging visa B application. So, or yeah, it'll just be another. If you look, like you do it on the EMI account, and I can't recall exactly what it says, but there's It just says you want to remove there's a thing there saying you want to remove a condition, work rights, and then you'll say why, and you go compelling need to work, and then you supply documents, etc. So, yeah. Param, no future of chef in South Australia. Which state is best for cooks and chefs? Well, look, if you are a cook and chef, if you go to www.dragonrecruitment.com, that's our recruitment firm. You can register with us. Some aged care facilities need cooks and chefs, the bigger ones, and so because of that, we're taking registrations, but we're not really targeting hospitality. But I just thought I'd throw that out there as another option for you. Dragonrecruitment.com. Register as an aged care worker and then select cook or chef. What state is best? The state of employment. You need work. The cooks, unless you're an ethnic cuisine cook and on a Dharma agreement, cooks, right, cooks, we've got the cutoff as being 90 points, 3,354 applications. Best states, New South Wales 415, Queensland 180, South Australia 168, Tasmania 138, Victoria 300. Oh, sorry, this is applications, not offers. The best state is Western Australia, but they've offers 336. The only state for cooks, really. All the rest are. There was Tasmania 45. But Tasmania, I think there's a requirement you've got to live there for a couple of years before they can look at you. Western Australia, 336. Western Australia is by far the most. There is 2,325 applicants in Western Australia out of 3,354. So 2/3 of the cooks looking for state sponsorship are currently in Western Australia or have applied there, right? So very competitive, and only 1 in 8, 1 in 7 is getting an offer, which is not very many. If you get a job as a cook, it's got to be easier to get a job as a cook than it is as a chef. So you should be able to get a job as a cook and get sponsored. What's going on with 482? Waiting 4 months and worried it could go over the projected 6 months. Well, it could. It definitely could with Christmas, because nothing's going to happen for a month, are they? Yes. I just graduated registered in Melbourne. Congratulations, Nitesh. How should I go forward for there's no fast PR track. But look, find work, get work experience, get on your 485 graduate, and take it from there. Like, if you've already got work, if you did a master's, you're already qualified. If you're already registered, you've got 12 months work experience, you might be able to get a job straight away, right? So yeah, there's no fast track. Anyone who tells you there's fast tracks, just full of shit, right? I just spent the last almost 2 hours telling people how slow everything is. There's no fast track. So everyone's a turtle at immigration. No hares, just turtles. They're all plotters. But congratulations, we need more registered nurses. That's fantastic. If you want to work in aged care, you can register at www.dragonrecruit.com too, because we need registered nurses in aged care facilities. How can I contact you? Just drop me a DM. You can send inquiries to inquiries@dragonmigration.com or inquiries to dragonrecruitment.com. They'll both come to me. Can you highlight a bit on Masters by Research? I don't really do student visas. Gichung can't really help you on that. Can't really help you on that. Need a job as a HTV driver. A bid can be possible. It is, but you need, the lights are on. It is, but you need to be in the country. So the best thing to do, go to www.dragonrecruitment.com. enter in the form, it'll tell you what you need to do, right? The first thing you'll need to do is you'll need to have an English test. If you don't have one, it'll say go and do an English test and come back and reapply, right? So unless you're exempt because you're from the UK, Canada, USA, New Zealand, or Ireland, there's 5, then you need an English test. And then after that, you're going to need to do, it's mandatory you do a skills assessment, it's mandatory you find a job, and it's mandatory you get a license. To get a license, you need to be physically in Australia. You can do the skills assessment before you come, and then so you can come here as a tourist or a student or a working holiday, depending on what country you're from. You come here, you do your heavy driver's license test, you do your skills assessment. You can do that offshore if you want, or you can wait till you get here. And then you look for an employer. I recommend, if you're going to do that, that you go to Perth, because a lot of truck driving jobs there. It's a big state, so they need to drive long distances. So it's possible, but if you're in Africa or if you're in Saudi, then you're going to struggle because you're going to find it hard to get a tourist visa. If you can't get to Australia, then you're going to struggle. Well, you're not going to be able to get a driver's license, and you're not going to be able to get work. So no one will employ you. No one's going to employ you while you're overseas. They'll look at local markets. So yeah. Love your apologies. What happened? I've lost. Oh, there's gear. Right. Ilsa. I'm a baker and my employer wants to sponsor me. 2 years part time. So, well, as long as your part time is over 20 hours, then it counts. That's what part time is. So, if you need 12 months full time or equivalent. So, 2 years part time. If you've got 104 weeks, that's 2 years. At 20 hours a week or 24 hours a week, even better if you're an international student now, you can do that. Have 2 years part-time, doesn't need a skills assessment. Ooh, bakers might be on some of the trades and some of the countries need skills assessments. I'm pretty sure, so it depends on what country you're from. It depends on what country you're from, unless you've got an Australian qualification. If you've done a Cert 3 in baking, or a Cert 4, or whatever the requirement is, whatever the education requirement is, then you're probably exempt from doing a skills assessment because you've got an Australian qualification. The whole point of skills assessment is to make sure your overseas skills match the Australian qualification. So if you've got the Australian qualification, you're exempt. I am Nitesh. Should I move to another state? I don't think. Look, registered nurses don't need to move states. And I know Queensland, for instance, they don't even sponsor people because people naturally migrate there because it's a better climate and things like that. So if you've only just graduated, get some work experience, find yourself a job, get work. Param, more than 200k, 482. That's right, Param, more than 200k, that's right. There's 220, last I saw the stats was 225,000 482 visa holders. I think that also included family members and things like that, but it's up from 180 12 months ago. But for the 186 seats, 44k. How to get 186 for anyone? Very hard. No, so that's the planning level, right? So the idiot in the department who says, "Well, how many 186s are we going to get next year? Oh, let's go. Let's pick a number out of my hat. 44,000. Yeah. Like if he just looked at the 200k and said, "What's a half of 200?" Right? And went 100, you'd be a lot closer than 44, right? Now, not everyone who does 2 years is going to apply for a 186. Some people are just here on intercompany transfers and things like that. Some people don't want to stay in Australia. There's not that many, right? But some people don't. But it's not a half, right? And that's just the people doing transition. We've got all these other 186 people direct entry who just don't want to wait, right? I think I've done more direct entries like in the last 12 months than I've done transitions. I've done one transition, and I think I've done like 6 direct entries. So, like I don't do big numbers, but it's still crazy, right? It's a crap figure per annum. So yeah, there's no cap. There's no cap in the work visa stream, right? So you can make an application whenever you're in the country. The problem with the 186 though is once you lodge it, you can't lose your job because you won't get your money back, right? And there was one unfortunate bloke earlier in the year who lodged. They took over 12 months, and then his company, I don't know, retrenched him. They went bad, and he had to start his 2 years again because your 2 years is only valid for 2 of the 3 years, and the 3rd year had passed, so his 2 years had gone, and he had to start again. So you can make a 186 application, but just be careful if you're going to be stuck on a bridging visa, because if you lose your job, you can't transfer it anywhere, right? Anoop, I'm on a 482 bridging visa. We've got 7 minutes to go. I'm on a 482 bridging visa with no work rights. I've applied for work rights. Yeah. Do you know how long it will take? Oh, well, it shouldn't really. 2 weeks, I would have thought. Shouldn't take. The work rights applications I've done this year, they've come through in like 10 days, eight working days, 10 days. So, I'm busy through the week. I tend to lodge my applications on the weekend. So, maybe I lodge them. The department gets them on Monday, and then the following Wednesday they get granted. The following Tuesday they get granted. So, yeah. Are you helping with a 182 visa? Don't even know what a 182 visa is. There is no 182 visa. That's why I don't know. Maybe that's a 482 visa. I'll definitely help you with a 482 visa. Definitely help you with a 482 visa. Oh, Aussie Peter. Hang on, I'll get to you in a minute, mate. How long-term partner? Long-term partnership is 3 years under regulation 1.03 or something like that. It's 3 years, or if you have a child, basically. Pujan, I don't know. I don't know what they do with 485s on Monday and Tuesday, but nothing would surprise me. Okay, right, we've done those. Human, 70 points, not received an invite. I'm feeling a bit worried. Well, you're not going to get an invite now until like September next year, are you? So unless you get a state offer. Human, although I'm yet to confirm that they've spent all of their allocation in November, but they should update. The figures aren't updated on the website yet, so we're not exactly sure. I have a Cert 3 of baking through RPL. Well, if you got the Cert 3 and they haven't rescinded it, because they've been rescinding a lot of RPLs, then you've got an Australian qualification, and you should be good without the skills assessment. But yeah, I'd have to see it. Pujan, I don't know about engineering technologists. How can I contact me? You just send me a DM in this, or inquiries@dragonmigration.com. Yeah. questions about a 300. Look, don't apply for one. You're much better off registering your relationship and lodging a 309 offshore, or get married offshore and then lodge it that way. 300s, the processing time is just too long just to get married and then get back in the queue to apply for a 309 or an 820. I don't recommend it, right? Just because of the processing time. You're turning a 2-stage process, which really should only be 1 stage, into a 3-stage process. It's more expensive. It's going to cost you more. It's going to take forever. Unless you're in Western Australia, unless your partner is in Western Australia, Northern Territory, or Tasmania, and so they don't have access to a relationship register, that's the only time I'd consider one. And I'd prefer to get married offshore, go to Thailand or Indonesia, get married there, and then make an application based on your marriage. No, Ilsa, 24 hours a week is part-time. So full-time is a 38-hour week unless the award or your workplace is something less. So if full-time is like 30, like you're working like in a local council where they work like a 9-day fortnight and you only have a 35-hour week or a 32-hour week, maybe 32, no, 32 would be too low, but 35-hour week. But part-time, it has to be over 20, otherwise you're casual. So, so 20 but students used to only be able to work 40 hours. Now they can work 48 hours a fortnight. So anything over 20 is part-time. So students qualify if they work every week. I've answered John's question about 309 long-term. What visa can you apply for if you run out of visas? Well, if you've run out, there's nothing to apply for. You need to leave the country. Contact me, inquiries@dragonmigration.com. I applied but got no response. I'll just take a while. Aussie, what sort of money can you earn as a migration agent? So, look, it's an interesting question for people that are interested in going into the field. It's a very rewarding field, I'll say that. You're helping people to get a better life, generally speaking. And so what can you make? Well, the average migration agent processes 1 application every week. So that's across the industry. So if you're thinking you're going to process 50 applications in a year, then let's say you make, I don't know, if you make $2,000 an application, then you're going to earn $100,000 a year. If you process, if you only make $1,000 an application, then you're only going to earn $50,000 a year. So, but then you're going to have, like you might work from home, but you might have rent and you're going to have phone bills and advertising, and you're going to have about $5,000 a year in expenses just to renew your registration with CPDs and MARA fees or OMARA fees or whatever, professional indemnity insurance, etc., etc., etc. So it sort of depends. You're also going to spend a lot of time talking to people that aren't going to generate any money for you. So I think if you're any good, and you've got some business acumen, you'll earn over 100. You'll really struggle to earn more than 200, is what I would say. But you can make a good living just by working part-time and perhaps just doing spouse visas or just doing work visas, or maybe you work for recruiters and you just do work visas for their clients and things like that. Just depends on how you go about getting your client base. So, okay, it's 6:01, so the time is up, and my girlfriend's staring daggers at me because dinner is ready and I need to go and eat. So thank you very much, everyone who has joined in. I'll be back tomorrow at this time. And if I haven't got to your question, you can send me an email to inquiries@dragonmigration.com. You can drop me a chat, and don't forget, you can go to Aussie Visa Mate. There it is, AussieVisaMate.app, and get access to 482 jobs, latest stats, which will be updated tomorrow, and processing times, as well as a couple of videos on tourist visa processing, spouse visa priority processing, and what was the other one? Oh, age parent visa, 870s.